Dr. Kim Woo was having his morning coffee when the emergency alarm started screaming through the medical station. Red lights flashed everywhere as the communication system crackled to life with a desperate message in broken English: "Help, ship. Dying, baby sick, please help us." Woo jumped up, spilling his coffee. He had been working as the chief medical officer at Colony Station 7 for 3 years, but he had never heard anything like this before. The voice sounded strange, not quite human, with weird clicking sounds mixed in with the words. "Where are you?" Woo spoke into his communicator as he ran toward the emergency bay. Near the big rock. Ship broken. Mother dying." Woo's heart started beating faster. The big rock meant the asteroid field just outside their colony. It was a dangerous place where ships often crashed. He grabbed his emergency medical kit and rushed to his rescue pod. The flight to the asteroid field took 20 minutes. Woo's hands were shaking as he piloted the small ship through the floating rocks. Finally, he saw it. A strange silver vessel crashed against a large asteroid. The ship looked nothing like human technology. It was smooth and curved, almost like a giant seashell. "I'm here," Woo called on his radio. "Can you open your ship?" There was a long silence, then a soft hissing sound. A door opened on the side of the alien vessel, but it was so dark inside that Woo couldn't see anything. He put on his helmet and walked carefully into the strange ship. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, and everything felt warm and humid. The air smelled like flowers and rain. Woo had never been inside an alien ship before, and his heart was pounding. Then he heard it, a soft whimpering sound like a scared animal. Woo followed the sound deeper into the ship. In a small room at the back, he found them. A tall, thin creature was curled up in the corner, holding something small against her chest. She looked almost human, but her skin was pale green and seemed to shimmer like water. Her eyes were huge and golden, and they were filled with terror. This was Lysa, though Woo didn't know her name yet. She was a Velthari, one of the peaceful, plant-eating people from the far edge of the galaxy. In her arms was her baby, barely bigger than a human infant, but its skin was turning a dark, sickly color. When Lysa saw Woo, she screamed. To her eyes, he looked like a nightmare come to life. She had heard stories about humans all her life. Terrible stories about creatures with sharp teeth who ate other living beings. Stories about violent predators who killed for fun and destroyed entire worlds. Woo's helmet reflected the blue light, far of the ship, making his face look scary. When he smiled, trying to seem friendly, Lysa saw his white teeth and thought they looked like fangs. The smell coming from his suit, the lingering scent of the meat sandwich he had eaten for lunch, made her feel sick with fear. "Please don't hurt us," she whispered in her broken English. "Please, we are just plant eaters. We never hurt anyone." Woo stopped moving. He could see how terrified she was, and his heart broke a little. He had dedicated his life to helping others, but this creature saw him as a monster. "I'm a doctor," he said softly, taking off his helmet so she could see his face better. "I want to help you." But this only made things worse. Now Lysa could see his forward-facing eyes, the eyes of a predator. She clutched her baby tighter and tried to move away, but she was too weak. Her own illness was making her dizzy and sick. Woo could see that both mother and child were very ill. The baby's breathing was shallow and fast, and strange dark lines were spreading across its tiny body. Whatever was wrong with them, they didn't have much time. "Let me help," Woo said again, kneeling down and opening his medical kit slowly so. She could see he wasn't reaching for a weapon. "Your baby is very sick. I can help, but you have to let me." Lysa looked at her child, then back at the human. Every instinct told her to run, to get away from this dangerous predator. But her baby was dying in her arms, and this monster was the only one who had answered their call for help. She was trapped between her greatest fear and her deepest love, and time was running out. Woo slowly pulled out his medical scanner, a small device that looked like a flat tablet. He held it up so Lysa could see it, moving very carefully like he was approaching a frightened animal. "This won't hurt," he said in his gentlest voice. "It just looks inside to see what's wrong." But when the scanner beeped and a blue light came out, Lysa screamed again. She thought it was some kind of weapon. In her panic, she tried to crawl away, dragging her sick baby with her. The movement made her collapse. coughing up a strange silver liquid that sparkled like glitter. Wu's eyes went wide. He had never seen anything like that silver blood before. He looked at his scanner and saw readings that made no sense. Where human blood should show red cells and plasma, the screen showed tiny crystal formations and energy patterns he couldn't understand. "What are you?" he whispered to himself, then realized Lisa might think he was threatening her. The baby in her arms made a weak crying sound, but it wasn't like a human baby's cry. It sounded more like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Wu could see that the dark lines on the infant's skin were spreading faster now, like cracks in glass. "Please," Lisa whispered, her golden eyes filling with tears that looked like liquid diamonds. "Please don't eat my baby. Take me instead. I'm bigger. More meat for you." Wu felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. The idea that this dying mother thought he wanted to eat her child made him feel sick. He put his scanner down and held up both hands. "I don't eat people," he said firmly. "I'm a doctor. I help sick people get better. Do you understand? I help." But Lisa had heard too many scary stories about humans. She had been told that humans were clever hunters who would say anything to trick their prey. She watched Wu with terrified eyes as he picked up his scanner again. This time, when the blue light came out, Wu talked to her while he worked. "See, it's just light, like sunshine, but blue. It helps me see inside your body to find the sickness." The scanner showed him something amazing and terrifying at the same time. Instead of regular blood, Lisa and her baby had a crystal-based system that carried energy through their bodies like electricity through wires. But something was attacking those crystals, making them break apart and turn black. "It's like a virus," Wu muttered, studying the readings. "But it's eating your energy crystals instead of your cells." He had never seen anything like this before. All his medical training was about human biology, blood and bones and organs. These aliens were completely different. Their bodies worked more like living computers than like animals. The baby's crying got weaker. Wu could see, on his scanner, that the infection was spreading through the tiny crystal networks in the infant's body. At this rate, the baby would die in less than 2 hours. "I need to take a sample of your blood," Wu said, pulling out a small needle. "Just a tiny bit to understand how to help you." When Lisa saw the needle, she went completely crazy with fear. She thought it was a weapon to kill her. She tried to get up and run, but she was too weak. She fell down hard and the baby almost rolled out of her arms. "No, no, please," she screamed in her language, then switched to broken English. "Kill me fast. Don't make baby watch. Please be quick." Wu felt tears in his own eyes. He had never felt so helpless in his life. Here was a mother dying in front of him, begging him to kill her quickly so her baby wouldn't suffer. She was so scared of him that she couldn't understand he was trying to save them both. "Listen to me," Wu said, sitting down on the floor to make himself seem less threatening. "My name is Wu. I have a little girl at home, just like your baby. Her name is Minji, and she's the most important thing in my life. I would never hurt a child, never." He pulled out his phone and showed Lisa a picture of his daughter playing in their garden. "See? This is my baby. I love her, just like you love yours." Lisa stared at the picture. For a moment, her fear was replaced by confusion. The human's face in the picture looked happy, gentle, the same way she felt when she looked at her own child. But then her baby made a sound like breaking glass, and she saw more dark lines spreading across the tiny body. Time was running out, and she was still too scared to let the human help. Wu saw the infection spreading faster on his scanner. He had maybe an hour left to figure out how to save them both, but first he had to find a way to make this terrified mother trust him. Wu stared at his scanner in horror. The baby's crystal system was failing faster than he had thought. The dark infection was spreading like poison through the tiny body, and regular medicine wouldn't work on this alien biology. But then he saw something that gave him hope. The scanner showed that Lisa's blood still had healthy crystals in it. Her body was fighting the infection better than her baby's was. If he could somehow transfer some of her healthy crystal blood to her child, it might save the infant's life. "I think I know how to help," Wu said carefully, not wanting to scare Lisa again. "But I need to connect you to your baby with these tubes. He pulled out the transfusion equipment from his medical kit. To human eyes, it looked like simple medical tubing and a small pump. But to Lisa, the tubes looked like metal snakes, and the pump looked like some kind of torture device with blinking lights. Lisa's whole body started shaking. She had heard stories about humans using strange machines to drain the life from their victims. She was sure this was how the predator planned, to kill them both. "No," she whispered, backing away as far as she could in the small space. "Please, just make it quick. Don't use the pain machines." Wu felt his heart breaking all over again. He looked at the baby, whose breathing was getting weaker and weaker. The dark lines had spread across almost half of the tiny body now. In his medical training, he had learned that sometimes you had to make impossible choices, but he had never imagined anything like this. "Look," he said, sitting down cross-legged on the floor to seem less threatening. He pulled out his phone again and found more pictures of his daughter. "This is Minji when she was born. She was very sick too." He showed Lisa a picture of a tiny, human baby in a hospital bed, connected to machines with tubes and wires. "She couldn't breathe by herself. The doctors had to use machines to keep her alive, just like I need to do for your baby." Lisa stared at the picture. The human baby looked so small and helpless, just like her own child. And the expression on Wu's face in the picture, the way he was looking at his sick daughter, was exactly how she felt when she looked at her own baby. "The machine saved her life," Wu continued, scrolling to a picture of Minji as a healthy toddler, laughing and running in a park. "She's 5 years old now, happy and strong because the scary machines helped her when she was dying." For the first time since he had arrived, Lisa really looked at Wu's eyes. She had been so scared of his teeth and his smell that she hadn't noticed his expression. Now she saw something she recognized, the desperate, fierce love of a parent who would do anything to save their child. "Your baby is dying," Wu said gently, pointing to his scanner. "See these dark lines? They're like poison in her crystal blood, but your blood still has good crystals. If I can move some of your healthy blood to your baby, it might save her." Lisa looked at her infant, who was barely moving now. The baby's skin, which should have been a beautiful pale green, was turning grey. The child was dying in her arms, and she was too afraid to let the only person who could help them actually help. "It will hurt me," she asked in her broken English. "A little," Wu admitted, "like a small bite. But it won't hurt your baby at all. The machine will just move your healthy blood to her, very slowly and carefully." Lisa closed her eyes, fighting with herself. Every instinct told her that this human was lying, that he was a predator who wanted to hurt them. But when she opened her eyes and looked at his face again, she didn't see hunger or cruelty. She saw the same desperate determination she felt in her own heart. "If I say yes," she whispered, "and you are lying to me, I promise you will kill my baby quickly. Don't let her suffer." Wu felt tears running down his face. "I promise you," he said, his voice shaking with emotion, "I will not let your baby suffer. But I'm not lying to you. I want to save her life, just like doctors saved my daughter's life." He held up the transfusion tube again. "This tube will connect your arm to your baby's arm. Your healthy blood will flow into her body and fight the poison. You'll both be alive and you'll both go home together." Lisa looked at her dying child one more time. The baby's breathing was so shallow now that she could barely feel it. She had to make an impossible choice: trust the creature she had been taught to fear most in the universe, or watch her baby die in her arms. Slowly, with tears streaming down her face, she held out her arm to the human doctor. Wu's hands were steady as he carefully inserted the thin needle into Lisa's arm. She flinched and made a small sound of pain, but she didn't pull away. Her golden eyes were fixed on her baby, watching every shallow breath the infant took. "There," Wu said softly. "The hard part is done. Now I need to connect the tube to your baby." This was the most delicate part. The baby was so small and weak that Wu had to be incredibly careful. He had done thousands of procedures on human patients, but never on an alien child whose biology he barely understood. Lisa watched in terror as Wu picked up her baby. She was sure he was going to hurt the infant, maybe even eat it right in front of her. But instead, something amazing happened. Wu cradled the sick baby against his chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. His large human hands, which Lisa had thought looked like dangerous claws, were incredibly gentle. He supported the baby's tiny head and spoke to it in a soft, soothing voice. "Hey there, little one," he whispered to the baby. "I know you don't feel good, but we're going to help you feel better, okay?" The baby made a weak sound like tiny bells ringing. Instead of being annoyed or impatient, Wu smiled and started humming a soft melody. It was a lullaby his own mother had sung to him when he was little, and later he had sung it to Minji when she couldn't sleep. Lisa couldn't believe what she was seeing. This creature she had thought was a monster was holding her baby like a parent would. The humming sound he made was beautiful and peaceful, and it seemed to calm the infant. Very carefully, Wu inserted the second needle into the baby's tiny arm. The infant whimpered, and immediately Wu started humming again, rocking the baby gently back and forth. I know, he murmured. "It's scary, but Mama's right here, and I'm going to make you feel better." For the next several hours, Wu never stopped watching his monitors. Numbers and graphs showed him how the alien blood was flowing between mother and child. He had to adjust the flow rate constantly, making sure not too much blood moved too fast, but also making sure enough healthy crystals reached the baby to fight the infection. Lisa watched everything. She saw how Wu's eyes never left the baby for more than a few seconds. She saw how he gently moved the infant to different positions to make sure the baby was comfortable. When the child cried, Wu would hum or sing softly. When the baby seemed scared, he would talk to it in that same gentle voice he had used with her. "You're being so brave," he told the baby during one difficult moment when the infant was crying weakly. "Your mama is so proud of you. She loves you so much that she trusted a scary stranger to help you. That's how much she loves you." As the hours passed, Lisa began to notice changes in the way she saw Wu. His hands didn't look like claws anymore. They looked like the skilled hands of someone who had spent years learning how to heal people. His forward-facing eyes weren't the eyes of a predator hunting prey. They were the eyes of someone who was completely focused on saving a life. Around hour 12, something wonderful started to happen. The dark lines on the baby's skin began to fade. The gray color started to change back to healthy pale green. The baby's breathing became stronger and more regular. "It's working," Wu said, his voice full of joy and relief. "Look, the infection is going away." Lisa could see it too. Her baby's skin was starting to shimmer again, the way healthy Velthari skin should look. The infant's eyes, which had been dull and lifeless, began to brighten. By hour 15, the baby was strong enough to cry loudly when hungry. The sound was like music to both Lisa and Wu. A strong cry meant healthy lungs and a strong heart. "She wants food," Lisa said, speaking more clearly than she had since Wu arrived. The treatment was helping her too, as her body recovered from the stress of fighting the infection. "That's a very good sign," Wu smiled. "Hungry babies are healthy babies." As hour 18 approached, Wu began the process of disconnecting the transfusion equipment. The baby's crystal blood system was now full of healthy crystals from her mother, and the infection was completely gone. When Wu finally placed the baby back in Lisa's arms, the infant was glowing softly with health and energy. Her skin was the beautiful pale green it should be, and her eyes were bright and alert. Lisa looked up at Wu with tears in her eyes, but these weren't tears of fear anymore. They were tears of gratitude and wonder. The monster from her nightmares had turned out to be an angel who had saved her child's life. As Lisa held her healthy, glowing baby, she found herself looking at Wu with completely different eyes. The fear that had gripped her for so many hours was slowly melting away, replaced by curiosity and gratitude. "Why did you help us?" she asked, her English getting clearer as she felt safer. "Your people. We heard they only think about hunting and fighting." Wu sat down beside her, careful to keep some distance so she wouldn't feel trapped. He looked tired after 18 hours of constant work, but his eyes were bright with happiness at seeing the baby recover. "Who told you that about humans?" he asked gently. "Everyone knows," Lisa said, adjusting her baby to a more comfortable position. "The story spread across many worlds. Humans are dangerous predators who eat other thinking beings. They destroy planets and kill for pleasure." Wu's face showed sadness. Some of those stories might be true about our past, he admitted. Humans did fight a lot when we were younger as a species. We did hunt animals for food, but that's not the whole story. He pulled out his phone again and showed her more pictures. See, this is where I work back home. It's a hospital where we help sick. People get better. Lysa looked at the images of humans in white coats, gently caring for patients in clean, bright rooms. It looked nothing like the torture chambers she had imagined. You see, being hunters taught us something important, Wu continued. We learned to never give up. When early humans were hunting for food, they would track animals for days, never stopping until they found what they needed to feed their families. That same stubbornness helps us now when we're fighting diseases. He showed her a picture of a research laboratory where humans were working with microscopes and computers. We hunt sickness, the same way our ancestors hunted animals. We track it, we study it, we never stop until we defeat it. Lisa listened, carefully, trying to understand. But why help us? We are not your pack. We are not even the same kind of being. That's the beautiful part, Wu smiled. Humans learn to care about more than just our own families. We started caring for other humans outside our tribes. Then we started caring for animals. Now we care for any living thing that needs help. He pointed to his baby, who was now making happy gurgling sounds. When I saw your child sick, I didn't see an alien baby. I saw a baby who needed help. My brain didn't care that you were different from me. It just saw a parent in pain and a child in danger. Lysa was quiet for a long time, processing this information. Everything she had been taught about humans was wrong. They weren't mindless monsters who killed for fun. They were more like protective parents who had grown to care for everyone. On my world, she said slowly, we tell stories about the great gardeners who saved our planet long ago. They fought terrible storms and deadly insects to protect all the growing things. They never gave up, even when it seemed hopeless. That sounds like humans, Wu chuckled. We're still doing that, just in space now instead of on farms. The baby started to fuss a little, and immediately both Lisa and Wu moved to comfort her. Wu stopped himself, realizing he was acting like the baby was his own patient to care for. Sorry, he said, pulling back. I got used to taking care of her. No, it's okay, Lysa said, surprising herself. She likes you, look. The baby was reaching toward Wu with tiny hands, making the soft chiming sounds that meant contentment in Velthari infants. Just then, they heard the sound of ships approaching outside. Wu's radio crackled to life with voices speaking in his language. That's my rescue team, he explained, and probably your people too. Someone must have tracked your ship. Lisa felt a sudden sadness. She didn't want to say goodbye to this human who had saved her child's life. More than that, she wanted her people to know the truth about humans. Wu, she said, using his name for the first time. When I tell my people what happened here, they won't believe me. They'll think the human tricked me somehow. That's okay, Wu said. The truth has a way of spreading, just like lies do, maybe slowly, but it spreads. As the rescue ships landed and beings from both species came aboard, Lisa did something that shocked everyone present. She took Wu's hand, the same hand she had once feared would tear her apart, and pressed it gently to her forehead. Velthari, Hers Kellam, she whispered in her own language, then translated. Life-saver, light-bringer. It is the highest blessing my people can give. Wu felt tears in his eyes as he understood the honor she was giving him. Thank you, he whispered back. Take care of your little one. As they prepared to leave, both Lisa and Wu knew they would carry this experience with them forever. She had learned that the most fearsome hunters could become the gentlest healers, and he had learned that trust, once broken by fear, could be rebuilt through simple acts of kindness. The baby, healthy and happy in her mother's arms, would grow up knowing that sometimes the most unlikely heroes come from the most unexpected places.